Doctor looked at the data screen with tired eyes. After 50,000 years of galactic expansion, first contact had become routine. Every new species followed the same pattern. They discovered faster-than-light travel. They sent signals into space. The Galactic Council detected those signals and sent a delegation. The new species would be scared at first, then amazed, then grateful. Finally, they would join the council like all the others. 847 species now belonged to the Galactic Council. Each one had walked this same path from primitive isolation to galactic civilization, had personally overseen first contact with 23 species. The process never varied. "Another FTL signature detected," announced her assistant Hen. "Third planet of a yellow star system. They call themselves humans." Nodded and pulled up the standard files. The first contact package contained everything needed for a successful introduction: advanced medical technology to cure their diseases, energy systems to solve their power problems, transportation technology to help them explore space safely. Most importantly, an invitation to join the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known. "Prepare the delegation ship," she told Hen. "Select ambassador or for the mission. Include representatives from 12 species, the usual mix." Ambassador or was perfect for first contact missions. His species looked friendly but impressive. Not too strange to cause fear, but alien enough to show the wonders of galactic diversity. He had guided 15 species into council membership without a single failure. The delegation ship traveled to the human system within 3 days. Long-range sensors showed a busy system with ships moving between planets. The humans had spread across their local space quickly. That was normal. Most species expanded rapidly once they achieved FTL travel. Or sent the standard greeting message. "Greetings from the Galactic Council. We welcome you to the galactic community. We come in peace with gifts and friendship." The human response came within hours. It was polite but strange. "We thank you for making contact. We are honored to learn we are not alone. Please approach our third planet. We will meet you there." So far, everything seemed normal. The delegation ship entered Earth's orbit. The humans had built impressive space stations and had dozens of ships patrolling their system. Their technology looked different from standard galactic designs, but that was expected. New species always had unique approaches to engineering. Orr and his team took a shuttle down to Earth's surface. The humans had prepared a landing site in a place they called New York. Millions of humans gathered to watch the historic meeting. News broadcasts went to every corner of their planet. The human delegation was led by someone called Secretary General Martinez. She was flanked by leaders from different human nations and their top scientists. They looked curious but not afraid. That was unusual. Most species showed more fear during first contact. "Welcome to Earth," Secretary General Martinez said. "We are excited to meet you." Or activated his translation device and began the standard first contact speech. He explained the Galactic Council, 847 species working together for peace and progress, trade between worlds, shared technology, protection from cosmic threats, the end of war and disease and poverty. "We offer you membership in this great civilization," Or concluded. "You will receive our advanced technology. Your people will live longer, healthier lives. You will have access to the accumulated knowledge of thousands of worlds. All we ask is that you follow council laws and contribute to our shared society." The humans listened politely. They asked intelligent questions about council structure and member obligations. Their scientists examined the technology samples with great interest. Everything seemed to be going perfectly. Then Secretary General Martinez spoke words that Or had never heard before in 50,000 years of galactic history. "Thank you for this generous offer," she said. "We are honored by your invitation. However, after careful consideration, we must decline membership in the Galactic Council." or stood frozen. His translation device must be malfunctioning. No species had ever refused council membership. It was impossible. "I apologize," he said. "Could you repeat that? Our translation systems may have an error." "There is no error," Martinez replied calmly. "We appreciate learning about the Galactic Council. We are grateful for this first contact, but we choose to remain independent. We hope you will respect our decision and our territorial boundaries." Or felt panic rising in his chest. This was not in any protocol. There were procedures for fear, for hostility, for confusion. There were no procedures for polite refusal. "Perhaps you need time to consider," he said. "This is a momentous decision. Your people may not understand the full benefits of council membership." "We understand completely," Martinez said. "We have monitored your communications for several months since you entered our system. We have studied your civilization through your broadcasts and data transmissions. We know exactly what you are offering." "Then you know this is the greatest opportunity in your species' history," Or said desperately. "No species has ever succeeded alone. The galaxy is dangerous. There are cosmic threats that require unified response. The benefits of membership far outweigh any concerns about independence." "We appreciate your concern," Martinez said, "but we prefer to face those challenges on our own terms." "But why?" Or asked. The question came from genuine confusion, not diplomatic strategy. Why would you choose isolation over civilization? Martinez smiled sadly. "Ambassador, you see our choice as isolation versus civilization. We see it as independence versus dependency. You offer us great gifts, but they come with obligations that would change who we are as a species. We prefer to remain ourselves." Or tried every argument he knew. He showed them recordings of council worlds where poverty and disease had been eliminated. He demonstrated technologies that seemed like magic. He explained how council membership had brought peace to hundreds of species. The humans remained polite but firm. They were not afraid. They were not hostile. They simply said no. After 3 days of failed negotiations, Or returned to his ship in defeat. His report to the council contained words that had never been written before. Mission unsuccessful. Species refuses council membership despite understanding full benefits. Doctor read the report with growing alarm. In 50,000 years of galactic expansion, every species had eventually joined the council. The humans had broken an unbroken pattern. She stared at her data screens, trying to understand what had just happened. A species that could achieve FTL travel but didn't want to join galactic civilization. A people who preferred uncertainty to security. For the first time in her long career, felt something she had never experienced during first contact. Fear. The emergency session of the Galactic Council lasted 18 hours. Council members from hundreds of worlds gathered in the Great Chamber on Prime. The topic was unprecedented. What to do about a species that refused to join galactic civilization? Doctor stood before the assembly, her report displayed on massive screens. "The humans have rejected our invitation," she said. "This has never happened before in our recorded history." Counselor of the Warrior spoke first. "Perhaps they are afraid. Some species need more time to overcome their fear of the unknown." "They showed no fear," replied. "They were calm and confident. They understood our offer completely." "Then they must be primitive," suggested Counselor Aura. "Perhaps they lack the intelligence to comprehend the benefits of council membership." Ambassador activated his communication device from Earth orbit. "Respected counselors, the humans are not primitive. Their technology is advancing rapidly. They have achieved remarkable innovations in just the few months since first contact." High Chancellor X, the council's leader, leaned forward. "What kind of innovations?" "Their energy systems have improved by 30%, or reported. They have developed new medical treatments we have never seen. Their ship designs are unlike anything in our databases. They seem to be using our contact as inspiration for their own research rather than accepting our technology." The council chamber erupted in confused voices. Species didn't innovate after first contact. They accepted galactic technology and stopped developing their own primitive systems. That was how civilization worked. Doctor had spent months studying human transmission since the failed first contact. What she found disturbed her more each day. "Counselors, I have analyzed human communications extensively. The humans are not rejecting us due to fear or ignorance. They have made a deliberate choice." "What choice?" demanded Chancellor X. "They believe independence is more valuable than security," said. "They would rather face the galaxy's dangers alone than compromise their autonomy by joining our civilization." The chamber fell silent. The concept was almost incomprehensible. Every species chose security over independence. It was the foundation of galactic civilization. Counselor and spoke slowly. "Are you saying they prefer to struggle alone rather than accept our help?" "Yes," confirmed. "They see our help as making them dependent. They want to solve their own problems and face their own challenges." Chancellor X ordered new diplomatic missions. If the humans needed more convincing, the Council would provide it. Over the next 6 months, delegation after delegation visited Earth. Each mission offered greater incentives. Advanced medical technology that could extend human to thousands of years. Energy systems that could power their entire civilization. Terraforming technology to create paradise worlds. Defense systems to protect them from cosmic threats. Each mission received the same polite but firm response: "Thank you, but no." The humans were always courteous. They hosted the delegations well. They asked intelligent questions and engaged in fascinating discussions about galactic civilization, but they never wavered in their refusal to join. Ambassador or tried different approaches. He appealed to human emotions, showing them recordings of species who had been saved from extinction by council intervention. He used logic, demonstrating mathematically how council membership would benefit humanity. He even tried warnings, explaining the dangers that lone species faced in the galaxy. Nothing worked. They listened to everything we say or reported after his 5th failed mission. They understand the benefits. They acknowledge the risks. They simply choose independence anyway. Doctor made an even more disturbing discovery during her research. "Counselors, I have been monitoring human scientific advancement. They are progressing faster than any species in our records." "How is that possible?" asked Counselor Aura. "Species slow their development after first contact. They wait for council technology." "The humans are not waiting," explained. "They are using our existence as proof that certain achievements are possible, but instead of copying our methods, they develop their own solutions." She displayed human innovation reports on the chamber screens. New FTL drives that worked on different principles than council technology. Medical treatments that approached problems from unique angles. Ship designs that prioritized different values than standard galactic engineering. "They are not trying to become like us," continued. "They are trying to become better versions of themselves." This was beyond the Council's experience. Species joined galactic civilization specifically to stop struggling with development. They traded innovation for security. Chancellor X called for expert analysis. Teams have studied human culture and behavior. They found something that no other species possessed: a cultural value system that prized independence above all other concerns. "Humans have a saying," reported Chief. "They would rather die free than live as slaves." They apply this philosophy to their entire species. "But we are not offering slavery," protested Counselor N. "We offer partnership and membership." "To humans, any dependency is a form of slavery," explained. "They see council membership as trading their freedom for comfort. They refuse this trade." The implications troubled the Council deeply. If humans could thrive independently, what did that say about the necessity of galactic civilization? Were the other species dependent on the Council by choice, or because they had forgotten how to be truly independent? Months passed with no progress. Human ships began appearing throughout the galaxy, not as diplomatic missions or conquest fleets, but as independent explorers. They acknowledged other species politely, engaged in friendly communication, then continued on their mysterious journeys. These encounters baffled Council members. Humans treated other species as equals, not as superiors to submit to or inferiors to dominate. They seemed genuinely interested in learning about different cultures while maintaining their own identity and independence. Doctor's final report to the Council contained conclusions that shook the foundation of galactic civilization. The humans have proven that a species can advance and thrive without joining our system. They have developed technologies we cannot replicate using methods we do not understand. Most disturbing of all, they seem happier and more innovative than our member species. Chancellor X stared at the report in silence. For 50,000 years, the Galactic Council had believed that their way was the only way for species to succeed among the stars. The humans had proven them wrong simply by existing. The question that haunted every Council member was no longer how to convince humanity to join them. It was whether galactic civilization itself was as inevitable and beneficial as they had always believed. For the first time in its long history, the Galactic Council began to doubt itself. Doctor had not slept properly in weeks. Her research into human civilization kept revealing disturbing truths that challenged everything she believed about galactic society. The data on her screens painted a picture that terrified her more than any military threat ever could. She called an emergency meeting with the Council's top advisors. Chancellor X, Chief, and military strategist gathered in the secure conference chamber. "I have made a discovery," began, her voice shaking slightly. "The humans have not simply rejected our invitation, they have rejected our entire philosophy of civilization." She activated the holographic display showing intercepted human communications. "I have been analyzing their internal discussions about galactic civilization. Their conclusion is that we have created a galaxy-wide system that weakens, rather than strengthens its member species." Chancellor X frowned. "That is impossible. Our system has brought peace and prosperity to hundreds of worlds." "Has it?" asked. "When did any member species last solve a major problem independently? When did any Council world develop a significant innovation without using our collective research system?" The question hung in the air. No one could answer it. Spoke slowly. "You are suggesting that our member species have become dependent on the Council system." "Not dependent," corrected. "Addicted. They have forgotten how to function independently because they no longer need to." She displayed comparative data on the screens. "Look at innovation rates. When species join the Council, their independent research drops dramatically. They stop developing unique solutions because our collective system provides standardized answers." Military strategists leaned forward. "But standardization brings efficiency. Why develop 50 different solutions when one proven method works for everyone?" "Because humans believe diversity of approach leads to better outcomes," replied. "They think our standardization has made galactic civilization stagnant and predictable." The holographic display showed human technological development over the past year. Their progress was not just fast, it was fundamentally different from anything in Council databases. Their medical research focuses on enhancing natural healing rather than replacing it, explained. Their energy systems work with environmental forces instead of overpowering them. Their ship designs prioritize adaptability over standardization. "Those approaches are inefficient," protested. "Are they?" challenged. Human ships can operate in environments that would disable Council vessels. Their medical treatments work on species that our standardized medicine cannot help. Their energy systems adapt to local conditions instead of requiring environmental modification. Chancellor X studied the data with growing unease. What exactly are you suggesting? I am suggesting that humans have identified fundamental flaws in our civilization that we never noticed because we never questioned our basic assumptions, said. She displayed another set of communications. Humans have been observing our member species for months. Their assessment is that we have created comfortable weakness rather than sustainable strength. The room fell silent as they read the human analysis. It described Council species as having traded their natural resilience for artificial security. Member worlds could function beautifully within the Council system, but would collapse without constant support. They compare us to domesticated animals, whispered, comfortable and safe but unable to survive in the wild. Nodded grimly, and they refuse to be domesticated. Over the following weeks, more disturbing evidence accumulated. Human ships appeared throughout the galaxy with increasing frequency. They were not exploring randomly. They were conducting systematic research on galactic civilization itself. Human explorers made contact with isolated species that had not yet joined the Council. Instead of inviting these species to join either human or Council civilization, the humans simply shared information and left. They seemed to believe that each species should choose its own path without outside influence. Most shocking of all, several Council member species began questioning their own relationship with galactic civilization after encountering human ships. The collective, longtime Council members, sent a formal inquiry about temporarily withdrawing from certain Council programs. They wanted to attempt independent research projects inspired by human innovation methods. The Republic requested permission to modify their standardized technology to better suit their unique environmental needs, something that had been discouraged for centuries in favor of galactic compatibility. Even the peaceful meditation masters of Serenity Prime began asking uncomfortable questions about whether constant Council support had weakened their spiritual independence. It is spreading, reported during another emergency session. Human influence is causing member species to doubt the benefits of Council membership. Not influence, corrected. Example, humans are not trying to convert anyone to their philosophy. They are simply demonstrating that independence is possible. Chancellor X called for strategic analysis. Military experts ran simulations to determine how to respond if humans became a threat to Council stability. The results were horrifying. Standard military doctrine assumes predictable enemy behavior, reported. Council warfare relies on superior numbers, advanced technology, and standardized tactics. Human military philosophy is completely different. He displayed human military exercises that Council agents had observed. They emphasize individual initiative, improvised solutions, and adaptive strategies. Our simulations cannot accurately predict their responses because they do not follow any established patterns. How can randomness defeat organization? Chancellor X asked. It is not randomness, explained. It is controlled creativity. Humans train their military personnel to think independently and solve problems uniquely. Every human unit might respond differently to the same situation. The implications were staggering. Council military doctrine had worked perfectly for 50,000 years because every species fought according to predictable principles. Humans fought according to unpredictable creativity. Doctor made her final, most disturbing discovery while analyzing human cultural broadcasts. Counselors, I have found the source of human resistance to our civilization. She displayed human historical records on the main screen. Humans have extensive experience with the choice between security and independence. Their entire cultural development has been shaped by rejecting comfortable dependency in favor of dangerous freedom. They have fought wars against their own kind to preserve independence, she continued. They have rejected peaceful absorption by larger, more powerful civilizations throughout their history. They would literally rather die than submit to external authority, no matter how beneficial that authority might be. Chancellor X stared at the historical records. They are inherently ungovernable. Yes, confirmed, and they see that as a strength rather than a weakness. The Council faced an unprecedented crisis. For 50,000 years, they had believed that galactic civilization was the natural progression for any intelligent species. They had assumed that independence was simply a primitive phase that species outgrew. Humans had proven that assumption wrong. They had demonstrated that independence could be maintained and strengthened rather than traded away for security. Worse, they had shown that the Council's way was not the only way, and might not even be the best way. The horror that gripped the Council was not fear of human military power or technological superiority. It was existential terror at the possibility that their entire civilization was built on a foundation of comfortable lies. If humans could thrive independently, what did that say about the 847 species that could not? The question haunted every council session and would reshape the galaxy's future. The first defection happened 6 months after humanity's initial rejection. The collective formally announced their withdrawal from the Galactic Council, citing their desire to pursue independent development. Chancellor X read the statement to the Emergency Council Assembly. We thank the Council for 50,000 years of membership and support. However, recent observations have shown us that independence may offer greater opportunities for growth than continued dependency on collective systems. The chamber erupted in shocked voices. Counselor and stood immediately. This is unprecedented. No species has ever left the council voluntarily. Doctor had been monitoring communications for weeks. They have been in contact with human explorers, not formal diplomatic contact, just casual exchanges of information. The humans shared some of their research methods and technological approaches. What kind of sharing? Demanded military strategist. The humans showed the how to adapt council technology to work better with their unique biology, explained. Instead of modifying physiology to work with standardized systems, they modified the systems to work with physiology. The chief looked troubled. That is the opposite of our integration philosophy. We bring species into conformity with galactic standards. The humans demonstrated that the standards could be adapted instead, said. They realized they could have both galactic technology and their biological independence. Chancellor X activated emergency protocols. Economic sanctions were imposed on the worlds. Their access to council trade networks was suspended. Diplomatic relations were severed. The council expected them to realize their mistake within weeks. Isolated species could not survive without council support. History proved this repeatedly. Instead, something unprecedented happened. Human trade ships arrived at worlds within days of the sanctions. They offered fair exchanges for goods and provided access to resources they needed. The humans did not demand exclusive deals or political concessions. They simply traded as equals. The humans are supporting the rebellion, reported angrily. They are undermining our sanctions. It is not rebellion, observed quietly. They fulfilled all legal requirements for council withdrawal, and humans are not supporting them politically. They are simply treating them as trading partners. The effect is the same, Chancellor X snapped. They are proving that species can survive outside the council. Within months, the experiment was succeeding beyond anyone's expectations. Their unique adaptations to council technology, developed with human consultation, proved superior to standardized systems for their specific needs. Their productivity increased. Their innovation rate skyrocketed. Other council members began asking uncomfortable questions. The Republic submitted a formal request to modify their planetary defense systems using principles learned from innovations. The Crystal Singers of Harmony Prime asked permission to develop cultural technologies that better suited their unique social structure. The Deep Miners of Regulus requested authorization to pursue independent research into asteroid mining techniques. Each request challenged the Council's standardization policies. Each request was. The denials led to more questions. If Council technology was truly superior, why couldn't it be improved? If galactic standards were optimal, why did some species struggle with them? If Council membership was purely beneficial, why were independent modifications forbidden? Doctor tracked the growing unrest with increasing alarm. Counselors, we are facing a crisis of confidence. Member species are beginning to question whether our restrictions serve their interests or our control. The second defection came from an unexpected source. The meditation masters of Serenity Prime, among the Council's most peaceful and compliant members, announced their intention to pursue what they called spiritual independence. We have realized that constant external support has weakened our connection to our own inner strength, their statement read. We must rediscover our ability to face challenges through our own spiritual resources rather than relying on Council solutions. Chancellor X was furious. The Serenity Prime species has been with us for 30,000 years. They are among our most stable members. They were also among the most dependent, noted. Their entire society has been structured around Council support systems. If they are choosing independence, it suggests that even our most successful integrations have hidden costs. The Council applied economic pressure to Serenity Prime just as they had with the. The result was the same. Human traders arrived immediately, offering fair deals and asking for nothing in return. More troubling was the emergence of what humans called the independent network. Former Council worlds began trading with each other, sharing innovations and supporting each other without central coordination. They were creating their own loose civilization based on voluntary cooperation rather than mandatory integration. Military strategists proposed direct intervention. We should use force to bring the defecting worlds back into compliance. This independence movement threatens the stability of galactic civilization. Chancellor X was tempted. Military action would send a clear message that Council membership was not optional. Doctor's strategic analysis changed his mind. Military action against the independent worlds would require fighting humans as well. Our simulations show that human military doctrine makes victory uncertain at best. She displayed the latest intelligence reports. Human ships are now present in every independent world system, not as occupying forces or military allies, but as civilian traders and explorers. Any attack on independent worlds would necessarily involve conflict with human vessels. Then we remove the humans first, suggested. With what justification? Asked. They have committed no crimes. They have not invaded anyone or threatened anyone. They are simply exercising their right to free travel and trade. Attacking them would make us the aggressors. The strategic implications were devastating. The Council's authority had always been based on the assumption that species needed them more than they needed independence. Humans had disproven that assumption and were helping others do the same. More species began announcing their intention to leave the Council. The artistic painters of Color Prime wanted to develop their cultural expressions without conforming to galactic aesthetic standards. The warriors of Iron Fist desired to rebuild their military traditions using their own principles rather than Council doctrines. The traders of Silver Roots wished to establish their own commercial networks without Council regulation. Each defection weakened the Council's position. Each success by an independent world encouraged others to consider leaving. The most shocking defection came from an unexpected source, one of the Council's founding species. The Ancient Ones of First Light, who had helped establish galactic civilization 50,000 years ago, announced they were withdrawing to pursue what they called renewed independence. "We have forgotten what we once were," their statement read. The Council was meant to be a cooperation between equals, not a dependency system. We must rediscover our own strength before we can contribute meaningfully to galactic civilization. Chancellor X realized that the Council faced an existential threat, not from conquest or disaster, but from the simple demonstration that their way was not the only way. Emergency sessions lasted for days as Council leaders struggled to find a solution. They could not use force without becoming tyrants. They could not offer greater incentives without admitting their current system was flawed. They could not ignore the defections without appearing powerless. Doctor presented her final analysis to the Council leadership. "The humans have not attacked our civilization. They have done something far more dangerous. They have given our member species a choice." "Choice has always existed," Chancellor X protested. "No," replied. "Theoretical choice existed. Real choice requires viable alternatives. Humans have created those alternatives by proving independence works." The numbers were stark. 12 species had already left the Council. 30 more had submitted formal inquiries about withdrawal procedures. Hundreds were openly discussing independence. For the first time in 50,000 years, galactic civilization was not inevitable. Species could choose their own paths. The Council that had once ruled 847 worlds now faced the possibility of ruling none. The galaxy was changing, and the Galactic Council was no longer certain they would have a place in its future. 1 year after humanity's first rejection of Council membership, the galaxy had changed beyond recognition. Doctor stood in the observation deck of the Council's central station, watching ships from dozens of species travel freely through space without asking permission from any central authority. The sight would have terrified her a year ago. Now it filled her with something she had never expected to feel: hope. Behind her, the Emergency Council session continued its third day of debate. The topic was no longer how to stop the independence movement. That battle had been lost months ago. The question now was how the Galactic Council could survive in a galaxy where its authority was optional. 47 species had formally left the Council. They called themselves the Independent Worlds Alliance, though their organization was loose and voluntary. Unlike the Council's rigid hierarchy, the Alliance had no central government. Each world made its own decisions and chose its own level of participation. The independent worlds thrived. Their innovation rates exceeded anything in Council records. Their trade networks grew stronger each month. Most disturbing of all from the Council's perspective, they seemed genuinely happier than most Council worlds. Doctor had spent months studying this new galactic civilization. Her research revealed uncomfortable truths about the old system and surprising possibilities for the future. "The independent worlds are not rejecting civilization," she told the Council assembly. "They are redefining it." Chancellor X looked exhausted. "What is the difference?" Council civilization was based on centralized control and standardized solutions, explained. Independent civilization is based on voluntary cooperation and diverse approaches. Both can work, but they serve different values. She activated the holographic display showing trade patterns across the galaxy. Independent worlds trade more efficiently than Council worlds because they adapt their systems to local needs rather than forcing conformity to universal standards. Counselor and studied the data. Their military coordination must be weak without central command. "Actually, it is stronger," replied. "Independent worlds choose to cooperate because they want to, not because they have to." When the Void Pirates attacked the system, 17 independent worlds sent voluntary assistance within hours. No central authority ordered it. They simply chose to help. The implications were clear. Species would fight harder to protect something they chose than something they were forced to accept. Military strategists had reached similar conclusions. Our military doctrine assumed that central coordination was superior to independent action. Human tactics have proven that assumption false. Independent forces are harder to predict and defeat because they adapt constantly. "What are you suggesting?" Chancellor X asked. "I am suggesting that we have been wrong about everything," said bluntly. "Independence is not weakness. Standardization is not strength. Choice is not chaos." The Council faced a choice of their own. They could continue trying to maintain their authority over the remaining member worlds, or they could adapt to the new galactic reality. Chief had been studying human culture intensively. Her reports painted a picture of a species that had mastered something the Council never understood: the balance between cooperation and independence. "Humans cooperate extensively," she explained to the Assembly. "But they do so by choice, not compulsion. Their agreements are voluntary and can be changed when circumstances change. This makes their relationship stronger, not weaker." "How can changeable agreements be stronger than permanent ones?" Counselor N asked. "Because both parties know they are there by choice," replied. "Council members stay because leaving is too difficult. Independent worlds' allies stay because they want to. Which relationship would you trust more?" Doctor presented her final recommendation to the Council. "We have three options. We can continue as we are and slowly lose all our remaining members. We can attempt military conquest and become tyrants. Or we can adapt." "What does adaptation mean?" Chancellor X asked. "It means learning from humanity and the independent worlds," said. "It means offering genuine choice instead of comfortable dependence. It means serving our members instead of ruling them." The debate continued for hours. Some council members wanted to maintain the old system at any cost. Others suggested military action against the independent worlds. A few radical voices proposed dissolving the council entirely. The decision came from an unexpected source. A message arrived at the council station bearing official diplomatic seals from Earth. Secretary General Martinez appeared on the main communication screen, flanked by representatives from several independent worlds. Her expression was serious but not hostile. "Chancellor X," she began, "we have been monitoring the crisis facing the Galactic Council. We would like to extend an invitation." The council chamber fell silent. "We invite council representatives to visit Earth for cultural and philosophical exchange," Martinez continued. "Not for diplomatic negotiations or membership discussions, but for education." "What kind of education?" Chancellor X asked warily. "We would like to share what we have learned about balancing independence with cooperation," Martinez replied. "Many independent worlds have asked us to help them understand how to maintain their freedom while still benefiting from galactic civilization." She paused, then added something that shocked the entire council. "We believe the galaxy needs the Galactic Council, but not as rulers, as partners." Ambassador, or still stationed near Earth, provided additional details. "The humans have developed models for voluntary cooperation that maintain independence while enabling coordination. They want to share these methods with anyone interested in learning." Doctor felt her heart racing. "They are offering to teach us how to govern without ruling." "Is such a thing possible?" Chancellor X asked. "The Independent Worlds Alliance proves it is possible," replied. "Humans have created a civilization based on choice rather than compulsion. They want to show us how." The invitation included a remarkable attachment: endorsements from 47 independent worlds requesting that the Council accept the human offer. Former Council members wanted their old government to learn new ways of thinking. "They are not trying to destroy the Council," realized. "They want to help us evolve." Chancellor X stared at the human message for long minutes. Around him, centuries of galactic tradition crumbled while new possibilities emerged. "If we accept this invitation," he said slowly, "we would be admitting that our entire civilization needs to change." "Our civilization is already changing," Doctor pointed out. "The question is whether we change with it or become irrelevant to it." The vote was close, but the Council agreed to send a delegation to Earth, not to negotiate or demand but to learn. 3 months later, Doctor found herself walking through the gardens of New Geneva, talking with human philosophers about the nature of freedom and cooperation. Around her, representatives from dozens of species engaged in discussions about voluntary governance and chosen partnerships. The humans were patient teachers. They shared their failures as readily as their successes. They demonstrated methods for cooperation without coercion, coordination without control, and authority without dominance. Most importantly, they showed the Council something they had forgotten in 50,000 years of rule: how to serve rather than govern. The galaxy that emerged from this exchange was unlike anything in its history. The Galactic Council survived, but transformed. Instead of ruling 847 worlds, it served over 1,000 worlds that chose to participate in its programs. Some species chose full independence. Others preferred loose association. Many created their own alliances and partnerships. The galaxy became a network of voluntary relationships rather than a hierarchy of control. Trade flourished. Innovation exploded. Conflicts decreased as species found it easier to resolve differences through negotiation rather than submission to central authority. Doctor often reflected on humanity's gift to the galaxy. They had not conquered anyone or imposed their will on others. They had done something far more powerful. They had given every species the right to choose their own path. The galaxy was no longer ruled by the inevitability of joining galactic civilization. It was shaped by the possibility of creating something better. And it all began with two simple words that no species had ever said to the Galactic Council before humanity arrived: "No, thanks." The horror that the Council had felt when humans rejected all diplomacy had transformed into something beautiful. A galaxy where diplomacy meant genuine choice rather than elegant submission. In learning to say no, humanity had taught the galaxy how to truly say yes.